Hey guys, today's story is about a player that doesn't really have any self-awareness. Hi there! I recently discovered this sub through CritCrab and some of these posts are just hilarious. So, I thought I might share one of my own tales about the dumbest player that I've ever played with. I apologize in advance for my poor grammar, as I'm not from an English-speaking country. I'm also still very good friends with this player, so if he ends up seeing this, hi man, sorry. But this was too good to stay as an inside joke between us. So about 2 years ago, my boyfriend and a group of friends decided to dip our toes into the waters of RPGs, since we're all kind of nerdy and the prospect of building a story together sounded really enticing and fun. My boyfriend decided to DM for us, and spent weeks homebrewing the world and rules for us, and went even so far to create maps and deities. Honestly, it was pretty awesome. And without further ado, here's the cast of characters. My boyfriend being a first-time DM. Nexie, a shy girl playing a human ranger. Denny, who is playing a quiet elf monk. Val, who is my best friend, playing a hot female half-orc arcane hunter. Marty, who is Val's boyfriend, and the problem player that we're going to be focusing on. And then myself playing a human rogue. Marty really loves the Witcher saga, and wanted a class that could somewhat resemble a Witcher in abilities. So the DM homebrewed the Arcane Hunter for him, and he ended up playing a white-haired young man. Creativity at its finest. It's also worth mentioning that the DM wrote our backstories. We gave him guidelines of how we would have liked our PCs to be, and he came up with some good plot hooks to place them into his lore. He assumed we all read through them thoroughly. Most of us did. So our adventure began in a tavern, and we described our characters, and we hadn't even begun to interact with each other when Marty's character started freaking out and screaming in the middle of the tavern.
Is there any wizard here? A mage? Someone with magic powers? Help!
We were all pretty confused by this. But to get things going, the DM made us hear some stuff happening outside the tavern. Some evil dark elves that looked mind-controlled attacked the city, and Encounter 1 began. After that, we made our characters meet each other, and we learned that the bodies of Marty's and Val's characters had been switched, and Marty just couldn't handle it. So Marty had previously described his character as a severe, dutiful man that had a mysterious look in his eyes. So it was kind of weird to see him act like a maniac in the tavern, but whatever. We're all new to roleplay. Although he didn't disclose his class and character, he did do it out of character. And for what we knew, in this world the church was trying to get rid of all magic because it claimed that it was unfaithful, and one could really get in trouble for using it. And since Marty was whining like a baby, the DM made us find a stoner druid who could switch his and the half-orc's body back with a potion. But just for 1 week. And if they didn't find a way to make it permanent, they would be stuck back in each other's body forever. Seems like a pretty good deal, right? Well, Marty didn't appreciate the DM's efforts, and in his defense, we didn't have a session 0 to discuss intentions, and that was entirely on the DM. That night after the session ended, Marty texted the DM saying that he couldn't stand these conditions, because he loved his character so much, and he had put so much effort and craft in it, that the thought of looking different was so terrible to him that he started contemplating about having his character kill himself. And this hurt the DM, because he didn't want his player to feel that way, and he felt like he had failed at his job. But, at the same time, it's a quest for Marty, and that's what RPGs are for. And killing your so beloved character that you put so much of yourself into doesn't seem like a good way out. And what would happen to the half-orc then? Fortunately, they are good friends and are able to talk it out, and the DM apologized and promised that they would get their bodies back permanently in-game ASAP. Fast forward a couple of sessions, and we learned that there was a world-destroying device that a god BBEG was trying to find through his mortal minions, and he needed 3 gems to activate it, because it was a dwarvish artifact. So we wanted to find the gems before his minions. So we traveled from the city where we were to the mountains, and on the way we encountered a little elf girl and their lizard folk guardian. and it was immediately evident that they were some sort of guardian to the forest, and they would report everything that happened in the area. So we stopped to break camp and chat with them to get some information.
"I want to fish in the river for dinner,"
said Marty. "Yeah, sure, but you don't have a fishing rod, and the stream is quite aggressive. Do you want to do an athletics check to do it with your bare hands?" said the DM.
"Nah, I'm going to use my magic to make the fishes levitate from the water."
And at this point, I swear to God, he had the biggest smile when he said this. He was so proud of himself, and we just stood there in disbelief while this idiot outed himself as a magic user for fishing in front of two strangers. And a quick reminder that magic is kind of illegal, and his class should be really secretive about using it. You know, to kill dragons and other things. Not to do mundane tasks like getting food. And to bury us deeper in the ground, when the elvish girl said that she was leaving to report today's activities, Nixie's ranger promptly interjected saying,
"But why, Lou? Maybe you couldn't do that."
Like, thanks guys, could you be any more sketchy? My already wanted pirate really didn't appreciate any of this. But the DM was nice and let us go to the next city, warning us that the girl and the lizard folk would indeed file reports, and that we needed to prepare for the consequences. And this is where Marty outdid himself. So it turns out that we were all champions of deities that wanted to get rid of the evil god, and each one of us had a vision of some sort during the sessions to introduce our own god plot. Anyway, Marty's PC had a dream about his god being the god of magic, and he gave him some blessings and a warning. He would be faced with a choice to make a pact with a malevolent entity in the near future. Do not accept it, because it will make the bond between him and his god break. Seems straightforward enough, right? Wrong. The very same session, my character and the two arcane hunters accidentally entered some sort of portal and ended up in a creepy-looking plane where a painfully obvious evil entity offered them a pact. Said pact would finally allow them to get their bodies back permanently, and they just have to be loyal to him, and without even disclosing what he needed them for, or consulting the half-orc, Marty instantly agreed, and the whole table went silent. "Are you sure?" said the DM.
"Of course,"
said Marty, without a shadow of doubt on his face. And since my character was there with him, and I also just can't stay silent at this point, I remind him of what his god had said to him, and he freaked out. Val was pissed off in and out of game because he basically dragged her character with him, and now they're minions of the god of death. And we ended the session right there, and we never finished that campaign. Mainly because our DM honestly didn't know how to handle all the crap we were doing wrong, partially because it was his first time, and partially because we were a nightmare of a party, and also because we were never able to align our schedule. Myself, my boyfriend, Nexie, and Danny have upgraded to D&D 5e and have been playing for a year now. We tried to ask Marty to join us again, and he even wrote a backstory for a PC, but never actually joined. That PC would have been a Prince Aasimar of some faraway realm that was so humble he descended between peasants from time to time. And one time, he stumbled upon a sick-looking old lady and helped her, or whatever, and it turns out that she was the Queen of the Fays, and she made him his king. So he would have been a level 1 Aasimar paladin, while also the king of the Fays and Fairies. It's a real shame that we never got to meet him. Anyway, sorry for the long post, but my boyfriend and I still laugh at this stuff, so maybe you might as well. Well guys, quite frankly I don't even know why the DM even offered him the choice of that pact when he told him not to take it, when you know that this guy was going to take it. Seems a little bit counterproductive to me. But in any case, that's the end of the story, and if you liked it and would like to hear more, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more future videos. But, as always, have a good one.